86% of workplace failures are directly linked to ineffective communication. It's no surprise when you think about it. Whether it's sending unclear emails, missing the point in conversations, or failing to listen, the ripple effects can be massive. But here's the good news. Communication is a skill, and like any skill, it can be mastered. Did you know communication is the #1 skill to transform your career? Stick around, and if you're ready to lead with confidence, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss more tips like these. You all will be wondering, what on earth is professional communication skills? Let me break down first, what is this actually? Professional communication skills are the abilities that help you convey ideas, share information, and collaborate effectively in a workplace setting. They encompass both verbal and nonverbal methods of interaction, ensuring your message is understood clearly and respectfully. These skills go beyond just talking. They include active listening, adapting your tone, understanding your audience, and even interpreting subtle cues like body language or facial expressions. In essence, professional communication skills are what bridge the gap between intention and understanding, making teamwork and problem-solving seamless. Today, I'll walk you through 15 professional communication skills that can transform the way you connect, collaborate, and succeed in the workplace. Let's jump into them. First, let's talk about active listening. Active listening is the ability to fully focus on what someone is saying, engage with their concerns, and respond thoughtfully without interrupting. It requires patience and genuine interest, something that you often overlook in the rush of workplace conversations. Many of you will be falling into the trap of thinking about your responses while the other person is still speaking. This habit creates distance and can lead to misunderstandings. Instead, practice listening without interruption. Reflect on what's being said to you and respond thoughtfully. One approach is to restate their main point before adding your input. This builds trust and ensures you're both aligned. Let's practice it quickly. So you're saying the new strategy might increase efficiency, right? Imagine you're in a meeting and a teammate shares their concerns. Instead of jumping in with your thoughts, you say, "So you're saying the timeline might be an issue, right?" This shows them you're really listening and builds trust. The next time a coworker talks about a challenge, resist the urge to interrupt. Let them finish, then respond with, "I hear you. What do you think the next step should be?" This small habit can do wonders in building trust and avoiding misunderstandings. Next up is empathy. In the workplace, it's the ability to acknowledge someone's feelings and work collaboratively towards solutions. Have you ever felt unheard or dismissed at work? Frustrating, isn't it? Empathy solves that. Empathy strengthens relationships and reduces tension, even in high-pressure situations. A common challenge here is jumping straight to problem solving without addressing the emotional side of the conversation. A better approach is to show understanding first. So, next time you see your teammates stressed about a tight deadline, instead of saying, "It's not a big deal," you could try, "That deadline sounds intense. How can we tackle it together?" That one shift changes the entire vibe of the conversation. Small acts of empathy foster a sense of support and teamwork. Example 1. Let's say a colleague is feeling overwhelmed. Instead of brushing it off, say, "That deadline sounds tough. How can we handle this together?" This one small shift can ease the tension immediately. Example 2. Picture a coworker upset about feedback they received. Instead of saying, "It's no big deal," try, "I get why that feels unfair. Want to talk it through?" Now let's move on to comprehension. Comprehension is the ability to clearly understand the message being conveyed, including verbal and nonverbal cues. At first glance, it might seem obvious. Of course, you need to understand what's being said. But comprehension goes deeper. It's about catching the verbal and nonverbal cues, especially in tricky conversations. Ever nodded along in agreement, only to realize later that you completely missed the point? You're not alone. A good trick here is to ask clarifying questions. For example, when you say the project's stuck, do you mean it's a resource issue or a timeline issue? This not only shows you're engaged, but ensures you're both on the same page. Example 1. If someone says, the project's stuck, don't assume you know what they mean. Ask, do you mean we're waiting on approvals, or is there another issue? That's how you ensure clarity. Example 2. You're in a discussion and someone mentions a concern. Instead of guessing, say, when you say resources are tight, are you talking about time or budget? Then there's articulation, the art of expressing your thoughts clearly and confidently through verbal and written communication. Think of the last time you were stuck in a meeting where someone rambled without making a point. Frustrating, right? That's the impact of poor articulation. The key here is simplicity. Instead of saying, we must leverage synergistic approaches, try, let's work together to align our strategies. Straightforward language is powerful and leaves no room for confusion. Example 1, if you're explaining an idea, keep it simple. Instead of saying, let's align our synergistic strategies, just say, let's work together to make sure our goals match. Clear and to the point. Example 2, during a meeting, if you need to explain your plan, structure it. Here's what we'll do, why it works, and the steps to make it happen. Next, we have intention. Intention is being mindful of the purpose and tone of your communication to achieve the desired outcome. Why are you communicating in the first place? Are you trying to motivate, clarify, or resolve an issue? Losing sight of this can make even the best-intentioned message fall flat. For example, if you're giving feedback, a harsh tone like "this report is a mess" will shut the other person down. Instead, framing it with intention, "this report has potential. Let's refine it together," makes all the difference. Example 1. When giving feedback, focus on the result you want. Instead of saying, "this isn't good," say, "this is a great start, but let's refine it to meet the client's expectations." Example 2. Before a meeting, think about why you're speaking. If your goal is to motivate the team, use words like, "we've made great progress, and here's how we'll finish strong." Did you know that 93% of communication is nonverbal? Yes, only 7% of what we say comes from the words themselves. The rest is tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions. That's how much power subtle cues hold in professional communication. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it, how you carry yourself, and how you show up. Ready to level up your professional communication skills? Write "communicate" in the comments section, and I'll send you a free checklist to help you master these skills step by step. Notice your body language and tone today. Are they saying what you want them to say? Are you in control, or are they controlling you? Let's take charge of these inner forces and master the art of nonverbal communication. Today, let's continue our journey through professional communication skills. Let's move with the next 5. Now let's move to nonverbal communication, where it all begins. This is about conveying messages without words, through body language, facial expressions, gestures, and even the tone of your voice. Remember any colleague or teammate saying, "I'm fine," but their arms are crossed, their tone is clipped, and they're avoiding eye contact. What do you believe, the words or the body language? We all know the answer. But here's where you mess up. Sometimes you yourself are not even aware of the signals you might be sending. You could be tapping your foot during a meeting, and others might think you're impatient. Or worse, your slouch might scream disinterest when you're just tired. The fix? Start observing yourself. Practice open, relaxed postures. Look people in the eye and nod to show understanding. Want me to be more realistic, huh? When discussing a project, lean in slightly, not too much to make the other person uncomfortable. It shows engagement without a word spoken. Example 1. Pay attention to your body language. If you're discussing a project, lean in slightly and nod. It shows you're engaged without saying a word. Example 2. Be mindful of your tone. Saying, "I'm fine," with a clipped voice and crossed arms sends a different message than a calm tone with open gestures. Next is oral communication, the backbone of most workplace interactions. This involves sharing thoughts through spoken language, whether during a presentation, virtual call, or casual meeting. A good oral communicator knows how to captivate the audience, but here's a common mistake. You ramble. You know those moments when someone asks a question, and instead of answering concisely, you launch into a 5-minute monologue? That's a no-go. Instead, keep your thoughts organized. One trick? Structure your responses. State your main point, provide a brief explanation, and end with a takeaway. For instance, in a meeting, instead of saying, "So, yeah, I think we should probably move forward with the second option because, it feels better," you could say, "The second option aligns better with our timeline and resources. I recommend moving forward with it." Example 1. You're asked for your opinion in a meeting. Instead of rambling, say, "Option 2 is the best choice because it's faster and saves us money." Short, clear, and confident. Example 2. When presenting, pause between key points. This is the challenge. Here's the solution, and this is the benefit. Pauses keep the audience hooked. My key secret to even looking confident in my oral communication is putting little gaps and pauses to be seen as more legitimate, and it makes them listen to me more. Shh, don't tell everyone this. Then, there's written communication. This skill is all about clarity. Emails, reports, proposals, you name it. The beauty of writing is that you have time to think, but that doesn't stop you from making mistakes. Typos, overly complicated sentences, or vague messages like, "Let's touch base soon," can frustrate readers. Here's the solution. Proofread everything, even quick emails. And keep it simple. Write as though the other person has just 5 seconds to understand your point. For example, instead of writing, "The project's execution timeline may experience delays contingent on resource availability," try, "The project might be delayed due to limited resources." Just keep it simple and clear. Example 1. When writing an email, avoid vague phrases like, "Let's connect soon." Instead, write, "Can we meet Thursday at 3 p.m.? Specifics save time. Example 2. Before sending a report, proofread it. A clear message like, "The project is delayed by 2 days due to weather," is much better than a long, confusing explanation. Here comes visual communication, another underrated powerhouse. Think about presentations, charts, or infographics. A picture can simplify complex data in seconds. But here's where you trip up: overcrowding visuals or using irrelevant ones. A cluttered slide with 20 bullet points is a fast pass to losing attention. Instead, follow the rule of one idea per visual. For example, when presenting quarterly sales, a simple graph showing growth trends speaks louder than a text-heavy slide. You won't believe simplicity wins the race. Example 1. If you're presenting data, use a clean graph to show trends instead of a slide packed with text. One strong visual says it all. Example 2. When explaining a process, try a simple flowchart. It's easier for others to understand than a lengthy written description. Then comes interpersonal skills that tie everything together. These are the abilities that help individuals effectively interact, communicate, and collaborate with others. These skills involve behaviors and attitudes like empathy, teamwork, patience, active listening, and honesty, which are essential for building strong relationships in both personal and professional settings. In simpler terms, interpersonal skills are how well you get along with others, understand their feelings, and work together to achieve shared goals. They are often referred to as people skills or soft skills. These are your teamwork superpowers: empathy, patience, and honesty. Ever worked with someone who couldn't take constructive feedback or wouldn't cooperate? That's a lack of interpersonal skills. The key mistake here? Forgetting that communication is two-way. It's not just about saying what you think, but also about listening and responding thoughtfully. A tip? Before jumping to conclusions or criticisms, ask questions. For instance, if a teammate misses a deadline, instead of saying, "Why are you so irresponsible?" try, "Is there something that held you back from finishing on time?" Example 1. If a teammate misses a deadline, don't jump to conclusions. Instead of saying, "Why didn't you finish?" ask, "Was there something holding you back?" It shows you care. Example 2. When working on a group project, be the person who listens to everyone's ideas and helps bring the team together. Now comes feedback, the process of sharing information about someone's performance, actions, or work to help them improve or understand their strengths. It's one of the most important skills in professional communication because it builds trust, encourages growth, and aligns people toward common goals. The key to good feedback is clarity and actionability. When you tell someone, "You did great," it's encouraging but vague. They don't know what they did well. On the other hand, saying, "Your work isn't good enough," is discouraging and offers no guidance on how to improve. Effective feedback bridges this gap. It highlights what's working, identifies areas for improvement, and offers specific steps to move forward. One common mistake that you all make is being too vague or overly critical. For example, a manager saying, "Your presentation wasn't engaging." That's not helpful. Instead, they could say, "Your presentation was informative," but simplifying the slides and using visuals could make it more engaging. Let's work on that for the next meeting. The difference is specificity and support. Here's a simple framework to give better feedback. Start with something positive, provide a clear and actionable critique, and end with encouragement. For example, your report was detailed and well-researched. To make it even better, add a summary at the start for easier reading. You're already doing great work, so this will make it even stronger. Some tips and tricks for giving effective feedback. Always focus on the work, not the person. Be specific. Don't leave room for guessing. Offer solutions, not just problems. Give feedback promptly, while the details are fresh. When done well, feedback becomes a tool for growth, not criticism. It helps build confidence, improve performance, and strengthen professional relationships. Whether you're a manager, teammate, or peer, mastering feedback is a skill that can elevate everyone around you. Example 1. Instead of vague praise like, "Good job," say, "Your presentation was clear and engaging." I especially like the examples you used. Example 2. When giving constructive feedback, frame it positively. "Your draft is solid." Adding visuals will make it even stronger. Next up are verbal and nonverbal cues. These are the signals we use to communicate, both through words, verbal, and body language, tone, or expressions, nonverbal. Together, they form the foundation of effective communication, ensuring that the message is not just delivered, but also understood as intended. Verbal cues refer to the words we use, including the tone, pitch, and clarity of our speech. For example, saying "I'm fine" in a cheerful tone conveys positivity, but the same phrase in a low, hesitant voice may signal discomfort. The way we choose words, pause, or emphasize certain parts of a message can drastically change its meaning. Nonverbal cues, on the other hand, include facial expressions, gestures, posture, eye contact, and even physical distance. A smile during a conversation can signal friendliness, while crossed arms may suggest defensiveness. These cues often reveal emotions and intentions, sometimes even more powerfully than words. Common mistakes that you all make, as you often focus only on verbal communication and ignore the nonverbal aspects. For example, you might say, "I'm confident," but if you avoid eye contact or fidget, your nonverbal cues contradict your words. This inconsistency can confuse or mislead the listener. Yes, you might need the solution for it. To improve, focus on aligning your verbal and nonverbal cues. If you want to appear confident, use clear speech, maintain eye contact, and stand with an open posture. Similarly, when listening to others, pay attention to their tone and body language to fully understand their message. Practical examples are in a presentation, speaking with energy, verbal, and using open gestures, nonverbal, keeps the audience engaged. During an argument, shouting, "I'm not angry," while clenching fists and frowning sends mixed signals. Instead, calm words and a relaxed posture show genuine control. Mirror the other person's tone and body language to build rapport. Practice good posture and eye contact to appear more confident. Listen not just to what is said, but how it is said to understand the full message. Mastering verbal and nonverbal cues can make you a more effective communicator, helping you express yourself clearly while understanding others better. When these cues work together, they create trust, clarity, and stronger connections. Example 1. If you're explaining something, your words should match your body language. For example, say, "I'm confident in this plan," while maintaining eye contact and standing tall. Example 2. Watch for cues in others. If someone says, "I'm fine," but looks away and folds their arms, they might need more support. Now let's move to clarity. The ability to communicate your message in a way that is easy to understand, leaving no room for confusion or misinterpretation. When you communicate clearly, your audience knows exactly what you mean. This requires choosing simple, precise words and structuring your message logically. For example, instead of saying, "The project needs adjustments to better align with expectations," you could say, "The report needs specific data on customer feedback to meet expectations." The clearer version is direct and actionable. A common mistake is overcomplicating things, using jargon, long-winded sentences, or vague phrases. If you've ever been told, "Let's revisit this topic later," and had no idea when or how to follow up, that's a lack of clarity. The solution? Keep your language simple, check for understanding, and focus on one idea at a time. It's not just what you say, but how you say it that counts. Example 1. If you're assigning tasks, avoid saying, "Let's work on this." Be specific. Can you draft the report by Friday? Example 2. During a meeting, summarize the key takeaway. So, the goal is to launch by March, with testing completed by February. You've come so far, and here arrives brevity, the art of keeping things short and to the point. In professional communication, less is often more. A concise message saves time and ensures the audience focuses on the key points. For example, instead of saying, "This document provides detailed information on all aspects of the project to help you make a decision," just say, "This document outlines key project details to guide your decision." It's sharper, faster, and clearer. The mistake most of you make is over-explaining or adding unnecessary details. Repeating the same idea in different words can lose your listeners' attention. To fix this, identify your core message before you speak or write, and stick to it. Ask yourself, can I say this in fewer words without losing the meaning? Practicing brevity makes your communication more impactful. Example 1. If someone asks for an update, say, "The project is on track. We've completed phases 1 and 2. Keep it short." Example 2. In a presentation, skip the fluff. Instead of saying, "This document explains all aspects of the project," say, "This report highlights key project details." Finally, preparation is the unsung hero of effective communication. It's about researching, anticipating, and being ready for anything. Whether it's a big meeting or an informal discussion, preparation sets you apart. The mistake most people make? Winging it. They think they'll figure it out in the moment, only to freeze or stumble. The fix? Do your homework. Before a presentation, list possible questions and practice your answers. Before a meeting, read the agenda and take notes. A real-life tip? When preparing for a client pitch, anticipate objections. For example, if the client might say, "This seems expensive," have a response ready like, "It's an investment, and here's the ROI you can expect." With preparation, you're not just communicating, you're leading the conversation with confidence. Example 1. Before a client meeting, anticipate their questions and practice your answers. You'll feel more confident and in control. Example 2. For a team discussion, review the agenda and jot down your main points. Being prepared helps you lead the conversation. So, let me leave you with this. Communication isn't just about avoiding failure. It's about unlocking your potential to lead, connect, and create change. What if every conversation you had left people feeling empowered, understood, and ready to act? That's the power you hold when you master these skills. Here's my challenge to you. Start with one skill, just one. Practice it, master it, and then move to the next. To help you get started, grab my 30-day checklist. From the description, I'm giving it for free. Download it, track your progress, and let it guide you toward becoming the communicator you're meant to be. Because when you can communicate with purpose, clarity, and empathy, you don't just speak, you lead. So go out there, own your words, inspire your team, and let your voice shape not just your career, but the world around you. Don't forget to give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss more tips to help you lead and succeed.